This video is about flight instruction, human factors, and flight reconstruction. It's a combination of my experience as a certified flight instructor and my professional background as a site reliability engineer. I've done a lot of forensically piecing together information to understand how an incident happened. Also, I read NTSB reports for fun before I ever got into either of these professional pursuits, so clearly I have some hobbies. We'll start with the resources that are available to look at the flight in question and review the communications between instrument raid pilot and air traffic control on October 19th, 2022. We have an ADSB track that was retrieved from ADSB Exchange. ADSB Exchange works by combining radio receivers from many locations to upload both multilaterated transponder replies to ATC radar. A fancy word, it means we compare the time of reception to figure it out, and GPS signal output by the plane via ADSB. This particular output is timestamped, and I consider it to be very reliable for the conditions we're working with. Mostly, the data is consistent with itself. We also have ATC recordings that I downloaded from Live ATC. These are normally about 32 minutes long to provide a continuous overlap between files. At least the ones I've always downloaded have been 32 minutes exactly. These recordings are sourced similarly to ADSB Exchange. Individuals run computers that receive radio signals and forward it on. Unlike the digital data of position reports that includes very accurate timing, the audio files from Live ATC are streamed and encoded into MP3 files. They include no timestamps or delay information. The particular files I downloaded that cover the communications on this flight are definitely corrupted. The timestamps are incorrect, they do not open in Audacity, which is my preferred application for listening to these archives, and they have odd characteristics in Adobe Premiere, such as looping at the end. Both internet connectivity between the Live ATC site and encoder issues can contribute to this in different ways. So how do I make a video of this? I first hit replay on ADSB Exchange with a track set up and I think a 20 times speed multiplier while doing a screen recording. Then I imported that into Adobe Premiere and slowed it down by a factor of 20. I used both the length of the clip and the timestamps from the GPS data to make sure it was somewhat cleanly captured. Because the audio isn't timestamped, I pick a point where the audio and the thing I'm seeing on the screen seem to make sense. It's what you'd call a guesstimate. I roughed up a video about this while I was traveling, and I posted it unlisted on YouTube because things don't line up, and this was foremost a courtesy to the pilot involved to help him understand. It seems to have worked out differently than that, and so in the comments here I will post a link to the original video that is seen in some commentary of other instructors working with him. If the whole video wasn't already about that, I'm going to put on my very official CFI hat that was personally gifted to me by Paul Bertorelli just 30 seconds ago, and talk a bit about Chapter 2 of the Aviation Instructor's Handbook, Defense Mechanisms. Well, human factors, but that one too. I'm going to skip analyzing the bingo card here, but I am going to tell a story of one of my students. We got done with our flight, and he said, "That would have gone a lot better if you told me where we were going before we took off." "Okay," I said. "After we took off, what did we do?" I turned to a heading of 060. "Okay," I said. "Why did we turn that way?" "Because we were going to..." "Oh." And I kind of hoped that this would be where I'd get putting the track log to the audio. It never quite lined up though. And when I sent the email to this pilot, my first paragraph was, "I didn't record my own audio commentary because I'm traveling and my laptop mic cannot take the fan noise of running my video editing software. I might recut it later this week to skip audio gaps, but I'm not sure I'll ever get it to accurately sync to Live ATC audio, since that doesn't come with timestamps and it has some other issues with audio download that I might be unable to cure." I'm kind of frustrated with the response, citing, for example, exactly at 20 hours and 10 seconds Zulu, I decided I'd try seeing if there were other audio feeds which covered the same frequency. And there is one, it's close, but it's also skewed. It doesn't line up with the first audio feed. It has similar corruption issues, and it probably came from the same host. Since my work was to prove the opposite point of what I was trying to make, I figured I'd put the information out more directly. So here's somewhat more of a review of what's going on with some of my commentary on it.
Departure Southwest 2426 is in the climb. 2,500 feet of Sunshine 5,000.
Southwest 2426 got a departure radar contact, and you can climb via except maintain 14,000.
Climb except maintain 14,000 Southwest 2426.
2770 took out departure. Kodiak AVIC left heading 280, you're about 2 miles from the final approach fix. Maintain 3000, still established on the final approach course and clear to VOR Alpha approach. Runway 1, Amani. Hey, Victor Juliet, SoCal.
Yeah, Roger. Can you repeat?
Yeah, sure, that's all I'm doing. I need you to pay. Like I said, we're busy. We've got a lot of different things going on. 2:30 now, do it, turn immediately.
2:30, 8 Victor Juliet.
Yeah, if you're not ready, don't do this. You see the airport, let's go visual approach.
2:30, 8 Victor Juliet.
Yeah, it's not going to work, so I'm not going to be able to vector you all the way back around the airport. You missed it.
Yeah, we see the airport, 8 Victor Juliet.
Okay, sliding 260, clear visual approach, Monty, for 8 Victor Juliet.
260 for a visual approach, runway 1.
Do you want to make a right turn? What do you want to do? 8 minutes stay IFR?
Yeah, we'd like to shoot the approach, 8 Victor
Yeah,
Juliet.
I'd like you to listen and do what I'm asking you out. It's getting busy, and I'm trying to get things accomplished and get to your approach.
Appreciate it, man. I'm trying to listen, 8 Victor Juliet.
Okay, here we go. Juliet. Cancel approach, obviously. Stay at 3. Let's go southbound 170. I'll bring it back around. Slow it down if you need to.
All right, we'll go under 170 and slow it down, 8 Victor Juliet.
There you go.
So the problem we've got here is that the left turn instructions, left 280, left 230, fly 260, they're all missed for the repeat or for something else. But the sin, the thing that breaks the covenant, is the right-hand turn. And that's why ATC is saying, do you want me to maintain IFR for you? Do you want to go visual? Because I'm responsible for separation, and you've just done the complete opposite of what I've told you to do.
Hey, Victor Juliet, turn right, heading up 290, join the final.
Right, to 290, join the final, 8 Victor Juliet.
4 Papa Romeo, radar contact, mile south, Chino. Get right to 3, and I'm going to turn westbound. I've got departure traffic off Ontario, headed for Paradise. Remember, 1 Delta Sierra, hold over Riverside if you know where that's at and you're able to do so.
Hold over Riverside, VOR, 661 Delta Sierra.
2426, 4000, contact Los Angeles Center 125.27.
2527, maintain 14,000, Southwest 2426, good day.
And we're having such a hard time. That's fine. Hey, Victor Juliet, let's do this. Just fly heading 170.
170, 8 Victor Juliet.
Yeah, you getting to something like that? Is that pushing you? You're going 30 knots faster than you were before?
We're showing 120 knots.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know what it is, but you're showing 150 for me. I'm trying to set you up, trying to get you to turn and react. If you can, turn left heading 170, please.
We'll turn left to 170.
You tell me what you want to do, sir.
I'd like to shoot the VOR approach to El Monte.
Yeah, I'm trying to get to that. We're not doing that great. Let's go left turn, right? We're doing left turn. Let me know. We'll set you up. Just slow it down. Don't go too fast. When I get the turns, just be ready, please. Hey, Victor Juliet, heading 080.
Left 080, Juliet.
I can't clearly speak to why this next one wasn't vectored, other than we never saw the pilot roll out on 270. And again, I stress that the timing of how this video is lined up with the audio is probably, certainly, not perfect. In fact, I can't make 2 images line up. So what we are seeing here is the controller bringing the pilot back around to create more space. Now, an analysis of this that somebody else did brought in the idea that, oh, the controller is confused and trying to vector him onto a northbound final approach and into Brackett Field, which doesn't have a runway 1, but also wouldn't work for any of the controller's requirements and specifications. The final approach fix for that is Goldie, which sits just dead center at the southern end of the class Delta that you see on the screen on the marks, which means the final approach gate is a mile south of that, which means that the plane needs to be vectored in somewhere down there, 20 to 30 degrees lined up. Every time you get a vector to final, except once, he starts off with a northbound vector, then gets corrected to a westbound vector, which is normal for fly this heading, then fly this heading next. I don't see anything where I'm seeing the pilot being expected to stay on a northbound course to join the final approach course. None of the phraseology ever includes the VOR approach that leads into Brackett. So I think that's just an incorrect theory and a bad interpretation of the data given.
Kodiak, 8 Victor Juliet, turn left 50.
Left 350, Kodiak, Juliet.
Switch 120.3, I heard you. Thanks for the help. 8 Victor Juliet, turn left 270, join the final.
Join the final, Left Victor Juliet.
4 Papa Romeo.
0, 2296.
See ya. Hey, Victor Juliet, about a mile from T-Law. Cleared. VR Alpha approach, Soca runway 1 for El Monte.
Sleeper VR circle to 1, El Monte, Victor Juliet.
And now you're right of the final for A Victor Juliet. Say intentions.
Just heading, and then I captured the inbound course.
You're over. You're north of the final, A Victor Juliet. That's what I'm saying.
Yes, we're going to land it.
You know what?
We'll be landing in El Monte.
Yes. You're not on an approach. You missed the approach. Can you see the...
Yes, we'll just do a visual at this time.
Okay, yeah. Hey, Victor Juliet, traffic's 12 o'clock, 4 miles eastbound, 2600. I'm not talking to him. He says visual approach only 1 El Monte. Suggest you go westbound until you're close.
We'll go left and now make a visual.
Sea-Law is 6 miles west of Pomona. There's just no way. Like, the controller's job at the most basic level is figure out where 2 dots are and the final approach fix with the at least 10-mile line past the gate on his scope. He's got it. He definitely knows where Sea-Law is and not miscalling it. So since that's 6 miles west of Pomona and we see this start at Pomona in the recording I posted up, let's go ahead and adjust the recording and play it back where I think this audio clip actually makes sense at.
Hey, Victor Juliet, about a mile from T-Law. Cleared. VR Alpha approach, Soca runway 1 for El Monte.
Sleeper VR circle to 1, El Monte, Victor Juliet.
And now you're right of the final for A Victor Juliet. Say intentions.
Just heading, and then I captured the inbound course.
You're over. You're north of the final, A Victor Juliet. That's what I'm saying.
Yes, we're going to land it.
You know what?
We'll be landing in El Monte.
Yes. You're not on an approach. You missed the approach. Can you see the...
Yes, we'll just do a visual at this time.
Okay, yeah. Hey, Victor Juliet, traffic's 12 o'clock, 4 miles eastbound, 2600. I'm not talking to him. He says visual approach only 1 El Monte. Suggest you go westbound until you're close.
We'll go left and now make a visual.
Because we can't sync the audio and know what's going on, from the information we have here, we can't really make a full conclusion. But I can, with confidence, rebut the idea that the controller is trying to send the pilot to a different airport. The distances and the location of the final approach fix to go into bracket field on the VOR approach don't line up with anywhere that the aircraft is positioned at any time. The location where we see the aircraft begin its descent is not appropriate to the VOR approach into El Monte. There's a moment where, when I did line up the audio of where I think it belongs, that it looks like the pilot has somewhat captured the inbound course, at least the needle is alive, but it's followed by a 45-degree turn and then blowing through the final approach course, which is where we hear the controller cancel the approach. Well, actually, just say you're not even on an approach. And with the altitude that was being flown at that time, that's also true. So, in the end, I think that we're seeing a lot of the human aspects of this that are brought up in Chapter 2, the compensation of what I think should have happened, and taking the information that I originally put together and interpreting it in a way that ignores the upfront immediate caveat I had of I can't line up the audio with the track in a way that makes sense. The files themselves are corrupt, the data, the MP3 files. They don't list the time that they are. They have loops in them. They won't open in certain programs. I know the audio timeline is defective. And to draw conclusions that the controller is wrong and sending them to a wrong airport, or being asked, hey, do you have the airport in sight? It doesn't mean the one that's not so much in front of you, but under you at that point. At the distance from the bracket VOR, the Pomona VOR next to bracket, it's too close for any kind of instrument glide slope. You got to remember, at 3 degrees, it's 300 feet per nautical mile. So at 5 miles out, you would expect 1,500 feet. You'd expect to be 10 miles out at 3,000 feet. And yes, this approach at Goldie does have a higher crossing than that because it's circling, but you're just never going to see somebody getting slam dunked inside of the final approach fix, 500 feet above the minimum altitude. I don't buy it. It can't be. or the controller has exhibited such a level of incorrect action so many times in this recording that I don't think that they could continue without retraining and the supervisor hitting them for it that day, which I highly doubt. So with all that said, we may get more information in the future. The FAA acknowledged my October 24th request for the audio tapes with timestamps for this sector. And if I get them, I'll update it. In the meantime, I think that this is a strong example of taking a look at information and ignoring what doesn't suit what you're looking for. Most critically, the person who took the time and effort to put it together and looked at the original source files and started off with, these are corrupt. So here's the best I can do to give you some understanding, and drawing real concrete conclusions down to the second of the controller was wrong. It's an attitude that I think is concerning in flight, and one that I don't want to see in my students, and one that might keep me from signing somebody off. The end cut of this is me saying that when it comes to taking a look at something in aviation that you've done or been a part of, you need to start at it from the position of a learning experience. Because if you're not looking for where you were wrong or could have been better, not even wrong, though examples of wrong were here, and the acceptance of that has to be part of the learning process, then you don't get better, you don't go up. And in aviation, you will almost certainly go up with time. Getting better, unfortunately, isn't a requirement for that to happen. But being at the skill level for what you're flying and the circumstances you encounter, well, if your equipment and scenarios progress, but you don't learn along the way, they will exceed your skills. I would like to give my thanks to Daisy for her assistance with deleting the timeline of the video several times while I was editing it. If you're interested in supporting the channel, you can buy my latest creation on Etsy whenever I get around to doing something, which I won't. Happy flying, stay safe, learn a lot.